Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good night to you all. I hope you all had a lovely day, and since, it's still the 26th here, so this is still relevant. Merry Christmas to anyone who had, Christmas stuff yesterday, or I guess Boxing Day stuff today. I think it's no longer Christmas anywhere, but time zones are weird, so I won't make a fool of myself. And say, hope everyone had a nice Christmas, etc. Mine was very busy. So if I'm low energy today, assume it's because, yesterday was a lot. A lot happened, on Christmas Day for me. Not really like a lot of like events, but just a lot of social time. And that's basically me socialed out for a week. So, oops. So, WorldEmbers. The World of Embers. I believe on Tuesday's stream I was still working, or I'd started working on the Österwörth article. A country whose name I'm not even pronouncing correctly, so don't worry, buddy. I have finished that article in some form or another. I keep saying I'll go back and edit articles, and I never do. So, oops. Then, on, what day is 23rd? Wednesday. I know what dates are. On Wednesday I worked on an article about primordials, which is literally just, like, I guess progenitors or something. Just like, like the first humans, essentially, since all the examples in the article are human. Mostly because I did not want to go through the effort of figuring out who the, like, elf and merfolk immortals were. I was like, oh, fuck. No. Oh, thank you for the follow, Waffle Girl. Waffles Girl. There we go. Plural is correct. Hello! How are you? Hope your day has been lovely, and many world buildings is happening. Or writing, I guess, since I'm in the writer's category at the moment. So yes, I finished this article. It's okay. It's fine. That one's fine. Ooh, I meant to open a new tab. Oops. Great. Excellent. I wrote a character article on Christmas Eve. It's fine. As with all my articles, it's fine. Like, the one thing about this article I will say is that I already had art of the character. So I get the cute little picture of them that I drew in October of last year. So that was neat. That was a neat little touch. I would like to have portraits for more of the characters, but I don't. And then about an hour ago, I wrote an article about a temple to this dragon who's like the patron dragon saint thing of a duchy. A duchy I haven't written about, but I do know about it. I've got a lot of notes about this particular duchy. It was in response to I think that was the Christmas Eve prompt. Actually, no, that's not right. It was not Christmas Eve. That one was on the... Yeah, so it was the 23rd Advent prompt, but it was posted on Christmas Eve my time, and so I just made the leap, which was the a building that is feared by a culture in your world. And so I was like, hey, this place is hella sacred, and also if you're an asshole, the dragon will just eat you. I figure that works. So that was an article that I wrote. They're all fine. This like collation article isn't public, but it's basically the same thing as the progress page, just more compact, I guess would be how I would word that, is slightly more compact, since it fits 3 per line instead of one per line, kind of. Because I usually do a roundup article, and I haven't written it because I can't be bothered, and so I'll properly write this in January, basically, after I give myself like a week off to play video games. Or to figure out how to do Rubik's Cubes. One of the two. Because I got a Rubik's Cube for Christmas. I've solved it like 4 times. So, yay. I've been following a guide every single time. Haven't quite learnt it, but I have it. Yes. Oh, I have... Oh, yes. It's not really plot holes, because it's not for a specific story, but it is like the... like setting stuff. Because if I go to the Avuk article, such that it is, there's actually a lot in that article, and I don't know why. I think because I wrote the entire backstory of it. Yeah, so there's 700 words of notes here. There's stuff about, like, you know, where it is, what its name means, its brief history, something about the story of how it did. There's a lot. Someone brought a dragon to the capital, something about its flag. There's a lot of stuff in there. That said, a lot of my world probably needs me to go back through it and fix up the plot holes, because this has been going on for 2.5 years now. Nearly. Yeah, no, 2.5. Nearly 2.5. So it needs to be, I guess, edited to clean up some of the plot holes that I've created. Since sometimes I'll just write an article and have fun and then go, uh-oh, I've changed something about the world by writing this article. So, oops. I won't write it. I'm not writing this article, though. I've written enough country articles this WorldEmber. I've written 1, 2, 3... I've written 4 different countries, and none of them are even near each other. Okay, those 2 are neighbors. Those 2 are neighbors. This isn't kind of in the area. That's just off in Whoop Whoop. So, oops. But I haven't yet figured out what I'm gonna write today, because the plan was to have finished articles a lot sooner than I did. Luckily I am still ahead of the word count, but... I tried. I tried my best. And so what I have is I have an article that has a bunch of tables with a lot of things in them. And my basic plan was that if I make a list of all the articles that I need/want to write, not in the sense of like, I really want to write this now, or like, you know, I would like to write about this at some point. That kind of thing. If I make a list of all of them and make it so I can roll and get a result, that was a dud. I know, I need to fix that. Then it means that if I am ever stuck, I can just go, hey, and roll a table and figure it out. And then what I have as well is dice that I can use to roll to pick a table, because there are 4 of them. And now, usually I roll a d10, because there's 5 tables. However, since it is the 26th of December, and I still need to do 3,000 words, and also I'm low-key burnt out, like, I've done a lot of writing over the last 2 months. I have decided that I'm not going to write another country article for the rest of December. So, Erstra Words was the last country article of the year. Congratulations! It's not my best one, but hey, whatever, right? So instead I'm going to roll a d4, and that will just pick between the other 4 tables. There's a character table, a location table, a table, and then a table relating to a specific setting, and it's just a jumble. That's an assorted table, basically. Which is incomplete too, because there's other stuff in there that I would put on the list, but I can't do all of it. Like, I would put the countries on that table, but ha, I'm not doing country articles, not for Utramo especially. So I will roll a d4, and it'll go like 1 to d4. I'll pick one. I rolled a 2, which means, since we're starting, this is, I guess, 0, country is 0, so you can't roll it. Character is 1, location is 2, which means we're writing about a location, another one. Because I just wrote about a building, and that is a type of location. Because this list is just a mix of all of the possible location types. There's this is an island, that one's an entire realm. Pretty sure that's a city. That one's a city without a name yet. Please God, don't pick that. That's a city, technically. There's a building in here. It's not a very long table. The character one is by far the beefiest, and I've been writing in that. I've done a lot of I've done 4 of them, and I might even merge. I still haven't figured out if I'm gonna merge a couple of these, and if maybe this isn't a country but an island within a country. Haven't figured that out yet. I'll work on it. To January. That can be a January thing after the week of gaming. Hey, Tayville! Hello! I hope you've had a good day. I don't know what time zone it is for you, so I have no idea if it's like morning, evening, or afternoon, but I hope the day has been good and that world building has been happening. Because now I'm about to get the table to tell me what to world build. Not that table. This one. Here we go. It's 3 p.m. Ooh, nice. 3 p.m. ain't bad. That's what? Ooh, math? That is mid-Europe. Germany? Somewhere in middle Europe, I think is 3 p.m. I can almost do the math. That is good. Nice, that's good. Because I imagine for a lot of people that this time of year is quite busy. A bit more Eastern. Like the Scandinavian countries Eastern? Well, not like Denmark isn't more Eastern, but like, I don't know, like the Finland area. Or are we talking lower than that? I forget. At least I knew it wasn't Britain. I got that far. I was like, it has to be Scandinavia's north. Damn it. Well, part of it's east. It can't. It curves. It's somewhere in Eastern Europe. It's somewhere over there. I don't know European geography. I'm a humble Australian. I don't know nothing. I don't want to just throw country names out and be like, oh no, Romania. Don't know where Romania is. Hi, Rockcat, and hi, Ilaria. Welcome. Let us get this table. Oh, Russia. Ah, okay. That is a bit further east than I was thinking. No, yeah, that makes sense. That's why I didn't think of it, because I know there's a lot of there's like quite a lot of people on WorldAnvil who are in like, you know, Denmark, Norway, Estonia, you know, that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, that's about as far east as my brain goes. I get to about Estonia and then I'm lost. I keep forgetting Russia's right there. Yeah, UK is 12. Yeah, I knew that because Australia, or at least Melbourne, Victoria, is plus 11, and it's 11 p.m. So I can do the math, and I can go, well, if it's 3 p.m., it must be east of Britain. I get it. That's as far as I get. Yes, I wasn't super far off, but I was far off. So I'll cop that. East to degree. Yeah. Well, I didn't know what time Greece was. I haven't figured that out yet. Like, I've gotten decent at converting to British time, just because that's the time zone that Dimmy and Janet use. I know they're in Greece currently, but they still use GMT and like BST as their like foundational time zone that then everything else gets converted to. I hadn't figured out how far Greece was yet. And also, that assumes I know how far east Greece is. You assume I know how far east Greece is. I don't. GMTV is very convenient. Okay, oh no. Oh, that was the worst I could have rolled. Oh god. 2 hours, yeah. Ah, that makes sense. I don't get to the streams as often as I want to, just because they're at 6 in the morning. Well, hold on. Yeah, no, 6 in the morning. They're at 6 a.m. my time, so I often have to miss out on seeing the streams, unfortunately, so I miss some of the information. But I will try and keep that in mind, because then I can figure out that Germany must be the one. So it's like, okay, UK, 0. Germany, 1. Greece, 2. I can almost figure it out from there. If I... America's a lost cause. Haven't figured that out. Have not figured out that. I at best know mountain time, and I don't know where mountain time is. So that doesn't help me a lot. Okay, so I rolled the table to tell me to do an article, because I let the dice tell me when I don't have ideas. And apparently Russia is 3. Apparently. And the table has told me to write about the elven homeworld. I don't know if I want to do that, just because that is a barrel of worms that I don't want to have to deal with. Oh dear. Oh god. Oh no. No. I don't think they do. I can check, because I think we do put them on our Anvilite streamer core calendar. I don't think they would be streaming today, just because it's a really rough time for it. Oh, well, it's still on there. I don't know. Because a lot of people are, you know, not streaming for this weekend or the week, so. Hey, Pizza Pusu! Yes, happy Boxing Day! I'll pretend that Boxing Day means something. I know it's like the holiday, but I'm like, I don't know. We celebrate the cricket, apparently. I don't watch cricket. Did we win? Did Australia win the Boxing Day test? I don't know. I'm at a loss on that one. I haven't figured that out. Well, yeah, Russia's big. When you have big countries, they have lots of time zones. Unless you're China and you pretend it's all one and everyone's like, no, there should be more time zones in there, buddy. Okay. No. I don't do Boxing Day sales, so I don't, my wallet feels nothing. My wallet is heavier from all the Christmas money. Because I'm old enough, they just give me money now. And I'm like, yes, thank God. I don't get, very awkward gifts from the relatives I only see once a year. They're like, what does a 21-year-old want? I don't know, booze. If they bought me booze, my God, there would be I would riot. I'd be like, why booze? Booze in my house? Just because it would be funny. I almost want them to do it now, because it would be funny if they did. But unfortunately, they just don't buy me presents. Well, that's a good thing, but still. If they bought me alcohol, I'd be sitting there like, I don't know what you want me to do with this. Yeah, no, I don't drink. Not for any, like, moral reason or anything. Not that that's, like, a bad thing. But I'm just like, I don't like alcohol. I don't drink. So I'm just like, if they bought me wine, I would just be like, hey, Dad, would you like more wine? That said, I'm having champagne over New Year's just because we have champagne. Because someone like my dad works with bought him champagne. So he has champagne. He's like, you want some? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll have some. I'll try it. Because I've only ever had white wine and it wasn't good. So I've just kind of given up on alcohol. I was like, eh. Anyway, so I re-rolled because I didn't want to write about the elven homeworld. Too big, too much of a barrel of worms. And so I re-rolled and I got a capital that I haven't written in 2 years, so that'll be fun. White wine was pretty gross, and I know you can get sweet white wine. Oh, I don't have a thing for that. I haven't set up the ASC. I haven't set up commands. I need to do more command setup. Maybe that's a January thing that I do when set up. I forgot where I was going. Yeah, exactly. Like you want to get. You don't want to just buy a present for the sake of it. There should be at least a little bit behind it. And so gifts are nice, but like if the person has no idea, I would rather they just give money. I can just post the schedule. So that's the page to the schedule, where you can see me and then a big 2-hour gap, which I can't fill. I'm not streaming for 4 hours. No, thanks. I can do it, but I'm not doing it. It's Christmas. Come on. I'm not doing that. Yeah, so like, I like getting gifts, and I did get gifts. I got, what did I get? I mean, I got a bag that I bought myself, and then my mom took the bag from me and gave me back the money I spent on it, so that's a gift. I got a book. What else did I get? I got chocolates. I got a Rubik's Cube. But that was for it. That wasn't a gift. That was a pass the parcel. But it's a good pass the parcel. I like Rubik's Cube. Like if they don't have like, you know, a good gift to give, money's fine. And they can't buy gifts for me because I don't talk to them. So they just give me money. I don't know if this reflects poorly on me that it's not like a fancy big fantasy book. It's literally the next Dogman book. I get a Dogman book every Christmas because I like Captain Underpants and stuff. So you know, good thing. They're just nice and it's just fun. I like kids books. I'm a very simple reader, and it's, you know, it's pretty comics. So like I have fun. I haven't read it yet though. I'll get around to that at some point. Yeah, I think that's what I was about. So like, the wines vary. There are good wines. There are good wine. I'm sure there are good wines. The issue was, I know that some white wines can be quite sweet, almost like a bit like more like soft drinky kind of white wines. But the issue was that my dad did not buy me a sweet white wine to try for my 18th birthday because it was like 18th birthday, you can drink now. Here's some white wine. He bought like a dry white wine, and as someone who drinks soft drink, that wasn't going to go down well. So, oops. Oh, and thank you for the follow, La Portia and Tayville. Thank you. Sake. Ooh. I'm sure there is good sake. I'm sure there is sake in Australia. It's just that, well, I don't drink, so I don't go looking for it as much. Like, there is good alcohol, though I have been told that apparently Australian alcohol isn't great, especially wines. Like, apparently, if you want the good wine, you go to Spain. Spain apparently has very nice wine. I have been told this by a friend who stayed in Spain. I have been told. I simply repeat what they tell me, is that Spanish wine is good. Well, Porto if you want sweet wine. Careful, such a go to your head fast. Oh no. I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot, but the matter is that, like, part of it is I don't want to have to buy it. Because if you buy a whole bottle and then you hate it, you're like, what do I do with this whole bottle of Porto? So I need to have a good situation to try wines. Like, the reason we had a dry white is because my dad doesn't like white. He likes red. But he was like, I'll buy a dry white, because then if you don't like it, I will drink it. Because he likes dry wine. Fair enough? Totally fair. And then the reason that I'm going to try champagne on New Year's is that we have champagne that we got for free, and that if I don't like it, my dad will drink it. That's it. So, like, as long as there's someone to drink the alcohol if I don't like it, I can drink the alcohol. But that requires there to be alcohol. I could have tried a beer on Christmas, but I was like, I'll just go Coke Zero, mate. Sake just means alcohol, but what we actually mean is Nihonshu. Really? Doesn't that just mean, like, Japanese drink? Or is Nihon not the word for Japan? I mean, I know it's like Nippon or it's Nihon, isn't it? Wouldn't that just mean Japanese drink? I don't know. Italian wine is probably also good. I'm sure. And it's easier to get into Russia, so that would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Yeah. Spanish in the UK. Spanish sweet wine is good. Yeah. Beer is not nice. No, it probably isn't, but like it'd be nice to try. Like, it's nice to try stuff. Oh, it means Japanese wine. Okay, I should have known it wasn't drink, because I did technically learn Japanese, so I should have known that. Yeah, rum, fruit cider, or pacharan. Right, I think fruit cider was something that somebody did offer me at some point, but I did not take it. Because I remember I went to someone's birthday party when they turned 18 and everyone else was still 16 or 17, and they're all just drinking cider like there's no tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm 16. I'm not getting drunk at this party. I'm here to play Halo. I don't want to be drunk for this, because I can't play video games. I don't need to be disadvantaged. Alternative is Crimean or Georgian wine, and those are abysmal. Oh no. Well, given that I've never heard of people importing Crimean or Georgian wine, I'm gonna just assume you're correct on that. I can't imagine there's a lot of that floating around in Australia, especially not down south. Oh no. Okay. So I have the capital, and I'm pretty sure I've written nothing in it. Oh, good. Ah. That's all that's in it. It's got 2 sub-articles, which I'll probably never write. Oops. It's got an included location, which probably should be a sub-article, but I think it's a sub-article of something else. An owning organization. I've written about that. And its location. I've written about that. Okay. This is not a very filled out article, is it? Uh-oh. Founding date. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dates. Not dates again. Oh, I hate going through dates. Time zones. Timelines, man. They're rough. I did make the, because they, Dimmy added the, associated character organization option for timelines, like historical events. I added them, then went, these look ugly. And then I spent 2 hours fixing them. And they didn't look, they don't look ugly. But they didn't work for my flags. So I made them look different. And so now they're just, it looks better on the other timeline where there's more of them. Because the other timeline is more filled out by accident. I think, oh, except for the ones that don't have anything. If I go further down, though, you get, like, oh god. Can I have a good example, please? Yeah, you get, like, that. I think this looks pretty neat. When it's got a lot of flags on it. And then, of course, it can have character portraits, too. But most of my characters do not have portraits. So, oops. That's actually meant to be the Naochi flag. But, I haven't made it yet. No, I make my flags myself. Just with, often heavy inspiration from like, existing flags. But they are, like, I designed them myself. I attempt to make them, which is why some of them aren't great. Some of them are fine. Some of them are better than others. I really like the Hiki Cool Dust one, which was very, very, very loosely inspired by Bosnia-Herzegovina. Because, like, I'm pretty sure the Bosnian flag is the one where the star gets cut off at the top and the bottom. Because there's, like, a line of stars. And I got inspired by that. That's it, though. That's where the inspiration ends. I use Inkscape, which is, I guess, the same kind of thing as Illustrator. Like Adobe Illustrator. I use Inkscape, though. Because I can then vector it. And vectors up. It is a pain in the butt and to do, like, more natural shapes in Inkscape. But it's the same with pretty much all vector programs. Which is why some flags I haven't done because I want to draw things for. And I'm like, oh, God. Like, there's a country in here that has a dragon on its flag. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. That's not gonna happen. And when it does, it will be supremely abstracted to the point of not looking like a dragon anymore, unfortunately. Oh god, this will be a fun one when I fill out everyone's flags here. This will be fun. Yeah, like what? Well, kind of like Wales. Kind of like Wales. I think I was more leaning towards, is it Bhutan? The one that's like yellow, orange, with a dragon on the end. That looks cool as hell. Love that one. That flag just looks cool. True, if I could just rip off rip out the Wales dragon, or even the Bhutan dragon. But I like to make my own dragon, because then people won't look at it and assume it's related to Wales, because it's not. There is very little Welsh in this setting, I can assure you of that. Yeah, and a vector's good, like, because it gives you a lot of straight lines, a lot of, like, nice clean math. Not, like, too math, but, like, enough math. Because then you can go, okay, you can get the grid set up very nicely. I like Illustrator, and I've done a lot of flags just this month alone. How many flags have I done? Ah! It opened on the other page. Oops. The other monitor. Oop, that's not it. That's not it. Good lord. How hard is it? I've done how many flags this month? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've made 6 of them this month. Most of which I don't think are actually visible on this timeline. Weirdly enough. Because they were for countries that didn't get involved in the war, I don't think. Or wait, why isn't Yilba's one in here? What? Oh, I didn't upload Yilba's and Nimuji's. Oopsies. Flags! I like flags. I'm a fan of the vexillologies, and I wish I was better at it. But I think most of my flags look decent. Especially like the ones that I've made in this half of the setting, in Thrasin. Most of the Thrasin flags look pretty neat. They have a lot of common aesthetic elements because I'm not very creative, but they look pretty neat. And you know, you can maybe like, hey, maybe the reason this country's flag looks similar to this country's flag, maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know it, but you can imagine in your head. You can make connections, I don't know. Go wild. But, I don't know. I think most of the ones in this part of the setting look neat. The better way to show them off is in here, though. Because they're all in the list. Not all of them have flags, still. There's like, you know, all these flags that I've done. This one's probably the worst of the ones, to be honest. Glinzu Chol's flag is not good. I might change that one. But it's there for the minute, just because I don't have anything else I can do with it. Shihibul's I probably need to change how big that shows. It's a bit big. They look alright, though. Probably that one, too. You know, flags. I'm a fan of flags. I'm artiste. I kind of have to do the visual stuff. As a way to procrastinate from the writing, which I'm supposed to be doing. Because I need to do 3K in 5 days? Or I guess 4 days, technically. Oops. Yeah, 4 days to do 3,000 words. Oh no. It's doable, but ew. I had timelines open up for a reason. I need to be in here. Let's see. That font looks weird. That font looks really weird. Why is my font like that? That is not the font that I use. Where did that come from? I don't think that's the font I use either. Do I use Roboto? I'm getting distracted. Oh no. Oh no, I use Roboto. Okay, then I don't know well railways there. Weird. Weird stuff. But I guess what I need to do is figure out when this settlement existed. This is a baseline that I can then work around from there. Oh, the udon is amazing. I love the udon, but I think TJ made that. I think this is TJ's udon. It's mwah. I love it. It's the best part of sitting staring at CSS for 6 hours. Just that sometimes the little friendly udon goes. It's just so cute. It's very cute. Okay, so if Venice was here, if Venice doesn't matter, and then it's probably, well, what we can do, like I always do, I need to get my money's worth for all these dice that I bought, so I use them a lot for random numbers. But they're probably weighted, so who knows. Ow. Let's, oopsies. Basically, make a negative from 300. Just add it up. Go maybe 6. D6, D hundies, Go away, antivirus defender. God damn it. And the butt. Yeah, I'm basically gonna roll a D10, a D100, and a D6. The D6 is gonna decide how many hundreds it is. And then the 100 will decide the 10's value, and the 10 will decide the digit value. Dices are their own value, but I like to use them. That said, I mean, knowing me, I will acquire more. I did find out that there's a place that sells really cute, like, Pride-themed dice, like, in Ringwood, and I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, no. I'm pretty sure I'm on their mailing list now, actually, because I'm like, tell me when the dice. Because I found out about them on Christmas and they were closed, and I was like, God damn it. Tell me when you're open. I want dice. I want to support local business. Okay. Alright, so that is a 6, a 10, and a 2. So that's 612. That actually works. I'll just put it as 612. It's an old city. How big is she, baby? They're pretty. That's my reasoning. They're pretty. Like, I have 5 sets. I have these, like, purpley ones with gold. I have these, like, smoky ones with the red and the black. I have these, like, tealy, greeny, purpley ones. Oop, wrong dice packet. I have another set of purple and black one. And then I have 8. These, like, clear, sparkly ones. And it's because I think dice are cool. I like shiny click-clacks, I like being able to roll them, and it means that when I'm playing D&D over, like, Discord or whatever, they know I'm not lying, or it feels more real if I physically roll a dice and they can hear me roll the dice through my microphone. It just feels nice. That said, my dice are very, very mean to me. My dice are extremely mean and never roll the way I want to when I'm playing D&D. They are very, very mean to me. And I think we figured out the reason is that A, I forget to put my modifiers in, and B, they just don't like me. So I need a dice tower or something. 612, there remains 612. That's an old city, that's 1,000 years of city. Damn. Yeah, and having extra dice for your other players is good too, especially if you're playing in person. But using online dice sets is also good because then it's very, like, transparent. But that depends on how much you trust your players, I think. And also just personal preference. Sometimes it is just personal preference. It's nice to have the record, especially if you're like you just go, I forgot what number I just rolled, or I had to roll, like, if you have to roll a lot of dice, like, especially for, like, a big spell where it's, like, 7d10 damage. You're like, what? At that point, you just roll the online, you know? That's the idea. But, you know, it depends. Some people, I like having physical dice, they're pretty. And I got some of these technically for free because of, I got a voucher in, I think technically June, from WorldEmber from last year, because he accidentally forgot to send the voucher to me. Unfortunately. No, that's not his fault, but it kind of slipped through the cracks and I never received the voucher. And then eventually I got it in June because I didn't want to yell at him. Because, hey, rough year, he was busy. And I'm like, hey, tabletop loot, can I have my discount voucher? And he's like, oh shit, sorry. Here you go. I'm like, thank you. Dice. And that's why I have 5 sets. I previously only had, I think, the 1? which was the teal and purpley one. I have a lot of purple dice. I need like a yellow set. I don't know why it has to be yellow, but I would like one that has yellow in it. And by that I mean I'm going to buy the non-binary set from the local dice shop, eventually. When they let me buy, I will buy it. I don't have an alternate name for the city yet. I don't have population, and Demonym is, I guess Sinofisa? Sinofisa? What would you say if someone offered you this? Oh boy. Oh my god. A spiky D20 made out of, oof, 230. And then, you know, you get the extra bit. Oh. Wow. It's very pretty, but woof. That is expensive. It is gorgeous though. God. Dice is so cool. That said, like I spent the amount that the single D20 is $45. I spent that on like 5 sets. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. Cool as it is. No. I would not buy it. But it is very nice. They're very pretty. Like, god, dice are cool. Because even though it's like so simple, you can make a lot of, you know, variants out of it. You can have a lot of creativity in making dice. Not that I'm making any. Good lord. Heavens no. Oh god, there's all these fields on this template that I never use. Oh dear. There are so many. And I never use them. Never use any of them. Okay. So, Sinophis is the capital of Telziad. It's predominantly human, with a significant elven population, which is, I guess, like 30%. I haven't done the math. Actually, wait, did I do the math? Did I do the math? Hold on. Let me open this in the other window and then I'll bring it over if I find it. So you don't just see me aimlessly scrolling through my Google Drive, like, where is it? I was pretty sure I had a settlement generator. I didn't actually get around to putting the Thrasin ones in it. I didn't put the Thrasin ones in. I mean the Abravost ones in. I did put the Thrasin ones in, but only some of them. I didn't get very far with this, unfortunately. Oh god, it's been since August. Oops. But it's like... it'll do the math for me. Let's bring this over. This was a settlement calculator that Dinosaur Bob made a bit ago. And by a bit ago, I mean, I don't know, July. Late July, early August. As a kind of aid in... because I think because there was a couple of settlement prompts in summer camp. And so I think this came up, so he made a whole thing where it, you know, it gives you, if you tell it what type of capital it is, like type of city size it is, it'll give you a random number between an amount, and then, you know, things happen. I don't know when the hell the year is used. I don't know when the year comes up. When does the year come up? I don't know. But you can make it, like, do the math. And I put in an entire merfolk column, and they're never gonna show up in on that. And I just put in the year. Oh, because the year founded. Right. Okay, that's why it's there. That makes sense. But yeah, I guess, like, if you just put, Sinophis, and that's North Abravost, I guess. Tell it it's a capital. Gives you a random number. But I don't really like that number. That seems very big. Which is the issue, is I can't see enough of it. Oh no, I don't want to do that. It's very... Can't see enough of it on my page. It's devastating. Yeah, I had this at some point. I didn't end up using it as much as I possibly should have. At some point, I'm sure I'll go through and give numbers to things. But perhaps not now. Not at the moment. Though it is very neat. I think it... How do I make it... How do I make it recalculate? What? Oop. No. Ah, I don't know. It's a very fancy spreadsheet. I don't know how to use it. So we're not going to deal with that. It is very cool, though. Ah, jeez. Okay. So, you know, an amount of elves live there. I should not have eaten a Skittle on stream. Good lord. So there's an amount of people, an amount of humans, and an amount of elves. It's a matter of what else matters about the city, really. But close that. Don't need that one right now. It's up here. That's where it is when it loads. Wait for that to load, and I'll see if I've mentioned Synopsis anywhere here. No. Not really. Okay. Okay. So the city's up here. So it's like a bayside one. As most of them are. Aren't they all? They're all the capitals. Baysides. It's a very shitty bay, but technically that is a bay. And this is, you know, shenanigans ensue. I don't know a whole lot about its history, which is why it hasn't been mentioned. Funny how that happens. Like, oh yeah, I didn't write about it because I didn't know anything about it and I couldn't be bothered to figure it out. And the issue is I've mentioned it a lot, which is unfortunate. Because there's House Synopsis, which is the royal family of Talziad. Why is Synopsis mentioned in his notes? Oh, because he's in the city. That makes sense. It's mentioned in here. Oh, because of math. Mentioned here because of math. Mentioned here because she lives here. Mentioned here because it's in the city. Mentioned here because they live here. I think. Well, because they're the Duchess, technically. Mentioned because he lives here. Mentioned why? Why is it mentioned here? Oh, because it was travel from A to B. Okay. Sure. Mentioned here. For why? I wrote this article not that long ago. I should know this. Why did I mention... Oh, because it's Nova City Guard. Oh, useful. Don't open those articles. They lag. Synophian Gambler. Okay, that's why. Yeah, I already have the city, but no city article. Pretty much. Because the city has been named since probably WorldEmber 2018, if I had to guess. Like, the issue is that I reset the article date, so it won't tell you when I made it anymore, but I made it in 2018. Like, it's been here for over 2 years. And I've mentioned it a bunch because it's the capital of a country and a lot of people live in it that I've written articles about, and a lot of organizations are in the city, but that doesn't mean I know anything about it. Person who lives there. Person who lives there. Or lived there. Sorry, Lonnie. I'm pretty sure Lonnie's dead. She lived there. Berries are rare there. But sometimes they import them. Wait, when was Sinopus mentioned here? I'm assuming it's because of imports. Yeah. Attempt to breed them. Necromancy! I need to edit this article. Ooh. Oh, because it's somebody's name. Good job, Glory. God damn it. Yeah, it's basically just mentioned in a bunch of articles incidentally, because it's the capital. It's normal. Pretty much the only thing I can think of where it comes up in an interesting way is like the fact that it was the capital of the titular duchy. Because there was the Duchy of Sinopus, which was within the Empire, the Vosti Empire, and it's now the reigning family of Telsiad. And technically still exists, but only kind of. And so there's a bunch of stuff to do with, like, the Duchy and House Sinopus, where it, like, comes up. Like, specifically in this article that I wrote in, I'm gonna say January 2019. Gonna just make that guess. Jan 2019? Pretty sure that's what this is. Because there's stuff like, you know, it begins at a point, which is after when I said it was founded, so it's existed for about 60 years as a location before it became a duchy, which 60 years to build a decent-sized city in the north seems pretty reasonable, all things considered. Then we completely skipped a bunch of shit because I didn't have time. I had too many words and had to cut a bunch of stuff. Because I'm pretty sure there was something about, there was something about weapon smuggling at some point. I'm pretty sure there was something about weapon smuggling. But apparently I removed the thing about weapon smuggling. Which is pretty ordinary. Because as far as I can remember, originally the history was way more extensive that I wrote for this article for the duchy that the city was part of. And there was a bit about, like, one of the duchesses basically smuggling weapons to the Elven independence movement in the east. And so there's that. That's the thing that happened. And then there's, you know, all of this shit from the war. Another thing that happened. And, you know, the fact that the Duke of Sinopus at 18 became the King of Telsiad, because this makes complete sense. Let's make the 18-year-old the king. Why? Because his aunt refused. They did not want it. So this is probably the only article where arguably any city history is mentioned, but only kind of. Oh god, that's a bad article. I'm probably gonna delete that one at some point, or at least make it private. Ooh boy, that's rough. Oof. Old summer camp articles. Yikes. It's mentioned in the dust because he's the Duke. I need to edit that one too. It's mentioned in the Koshi incident because it affected the city. This is also city history, but only kind of. Because even though it is in the city, it's like the equivalent of saying that, like, something happening in Dandenong is happening to Melbourne, you know? Like, yes, Dandenong is Melbourne, but in practice, no one is talking about Dandenong when you say Melbourne. Like, if you say you're from Melbourne, people are gonna assume you're from about a 10k loop of the CBD. Like, if you're any further out than that, that's whoop whoop. Speaking as someone from the equivalent of whoop whoop in this city, you know, it'd be like that. So, you know, it's in the burbs, you know? The burbs. So this exists. This article probably needs to be rewritten. It's not too bad. The art's neat. This killed a couple of my purple Copics. The separation? When was Sinopus mentioned here? I'm assuming because of the Duke. Yep. What a surprise. God damn it. Fucking Derulian, you piece of shit. Tominarvis is mentioned, I think, here because it's in the city. Yeah. God damn it. Why do you do this to me? Why is this so complicated? What's an office doing in here? Oh my god. I'm just reading all the articles at this point. Yes, sin office. Ah. Ah. Wait, what? What part of the war is this? Who's dealing with this? Venice success. Okay. Okay. It's mentioned a single time in that article as a place that they drove people out of. Good job. Truly. A masterpiece. Well, shit. There's a bunch of scattered stuff that I've mentioned about Sinopus. So there's Tominarvis, the magic cult thingo, is in the city. I have a date for that, I think, which would be in here. I don't have a date. Oh, 365. Poland. So 365, that, I didn't copy that. 365 AC. At least the church finishes then, but it's always been popular. Kinda. There's smuggling. Circa was independence. There's, I mean, there's gangs now, scavs, kind of, hounds, kind of, gangs now, what else? Hoshi incident, 11 years in past, still, big deal, as it always is. Is there anything else in here that's interesting? Like, where, piss. Ah! No! Wrong button. God damn it, I kept mentioning the names of the people in the house. God damn it. And then I haven't filled that article out either. That date doesn't even mean anything. Ah, it's Cyril, that doesn't mean anything. The Hunters Guild is empty. The City Guard is empty, but probably shouldn't be, because they are important to something. Beans. I do not have that much information about a capital city. You would think I would have more, but I don't. Duchy of Sinopus. Started here. Woo! I guess one thing would be how it was affected in the collision, which I'm going to name a maps for. Did I make the version of the map that was layered, or was that the other one? No, I did make it. Oh, that's the wrong one though. That won't help me. That's a different layered map. That's the Abra merge for the other thing. I need to compare those two. Oh god. There we go. You can see them now. Because, like, that's the continent now in the present day of 425 AC. And then this is the continent back in, I mean, basically any point before AC. You know, before the collision that AC is after. That's what AC means. And so it's kind of difficult to tell because of the fact that it literally splits in half for reasons. Doesn't totally make sense, but I think it's neat. The bay does get bigger. It gets significantly bigger. There you go. That kind of illustrates the point. It gets significantly bigger. Like, if there is a bit of city here, it no longer exists. There's also an entire piece of river that disappeared, apparently. Don't know what the hell's up with that. And apparently the river just yeeted off a cliff, no longer exists. Oops. Probably because there's a whole new mountain range there that did not previously... Well, there was a mountain range, but it was smaller. There's a lot of, like, that little bit. The whole thing is kind of weird. Like, I don't know why that's so high. Got a little bit funky on the edges there, buddy. So, big part of the city went poof. That said, that's probably not actually Synofis, because I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone who's a Melburnian, and is thus astutely aware of the city sprawl, the suburban just expanse. Most cities don't have that. Not quite. Like, London is tiny in terms of land, like raw square meters, compared to Melbourne, which is huge. The square meters of Melbourne is huge. And it takes up a lot of space. This part here is Synofis though, this bit down here. They're basically on the river, so that part there, definitely a lot happened there. Some of the river wiggle is just I'm bad at drawing, but like the vibe is there. The big river went. That's interesting. The small river stayed, the big river went. Having now said that London is smaller, I feel like I need to check London's size compared to Melbourne. Thank you. Oh, making it larger than London. Thank you. The largest and least densely populated. London isn't a mere 1/5 the size of Melbourne. Its urbanized footprint is at least as large. What? Oh, we're being funky about it, aren't we? We're making some narrow distinctions. Because these are not at the same scale and key. Okay, maybe we're not. But it just is kind of wide, though. Not quite that big. We're pretty big. At least the administrative boundaries are big. Greater Melbourne is huge. Greater Melbourne is goddamn massive. Point is, big city. Most cities aren't that huge. So it probably isn't affected by this huge drowning here. Not directly. But it would be important. Sort of like the equivalent of like the other cities in the Bay Area when the earthquake, like the San Francisco earthquake, set the whole thing on fire. Kind of like that. Because, like, you know, San Fran, the equivalent is like here. Like, pretend it's rotated. You know, San Fran's like here, or I guess it's actually like here, and then everyone else is over here, and they're like, oh god, Pasadena and whatever. I don't know anything about San Francisco. You watch one video about city skylines and you think you know anything. But you know, they get the idea of it, that there's like, you know, a related tragedy of people that you probably know people there when this happened. Because that is a significant, that's a lot. That's a lot. I am slightly... Yeah, that's a lot of property damage and lives lost. Here is not as bad, but that's still probably like city center kind of stuff. Like that's a lot of, for lack of phrase, prime real estate. Like there's a lot of important people who would have lived in that area of Sinofis along the shoreline and, you know, like around it. And that's just whoosh. Oh, hydrate. Can do. Can do. Woo. Water is good. Oh god. I'm gonna try and push check myself out, but God. Good morning, Desley Cat. Good morning. Not much world building has happened because I'm very lazy. I'm blaming Christmas for that. I've decided to blame Christmas for the lethargy as opposed to the burnout. A large part of it fell into the sea in the collision. All my notes are just question marks. That's probably it though. There's a thing about a magic cult. There's weapon smuggling. There's gangs. There's different incidents. There's the big boom. There's the duchy. And there's a big bit that fell into the sea. And then there's just... See, tells you to royal family. That's basically the rest of the note on that. There's not a whole lot in the city. I don't think. Not that I can think of. It's full of ghosts, but you can't really put that in the article. There's like one character who knows that. Well, that like any necromancer, there's like one character who sees it all the time and it's like, wow, there's a lot of ghosts in this capital city. What a surprise! A densely populated place has a lot of like dead people floating around. Feel burned out because last 4 days waiting for a chance to get writing. Then I sat down, opened the article I wanted to work on, and needed 1 or 2 hours to start writing. That is a hard mood. That's been me for the last couple, like at least the last 2 days. Like I tried to finish the building article yesterday. This is the settlement article. This is different, but I finished a building article today, and it took a lot of just sitting there and being like. And part of that's just just, you know, rough time of year for it. Especially if you've also done, like, nano or anything. Just, ugh. Hey, Mikaro! Woo! Ooh, spell lists on paper for my world. A reference while you write. That's very helpful. I think that's the main thing, is, like, as long as you can, like, you know, get some use out of it. Like, I really want to hit 25k. My one issue, because I should hit it, I think I will hit 25k, is that basically the moment I finally hit 25k, that's it. That's it. I'm out of here. I'm gonna hit 25k, maybe 26, and then I'm just going to disappear. And go play, like, New Vegas or something. Yes, games are not helping either. Games are not helping the procrastination because it's Christmas. I spent most of the day figuring out Rubik's Cubes. That's been most of today. I did not need to be doing that. I have that. That's my progress. I've learned how to get to this point without having to read the guide. The rest is nonsense. That's it. That's as far as it gets. After that point, I have to read it. Yes, and Stardew Valley's update. Oh, shit, that's what I was playing. I was playing Stardew Valley. I did that yesterday, too. And Minecraft. Oh, God. Video games. Video games exist. We're gonna bake 1,000-layer cake. We freaked out searching for its tin, so now need to relax. Oh, no. Yeah. That makes sense. That would be very stressful. Yesterday was quite stressful, because, you know, Christmas. And then other things happened that weren't Christmas related, but were still stressful. The whole bilingual thing you're doing to this to blame, I think. During the day, I work on an average 50 to 100 pages in English, and then I start writing it in, or in it, but then I translate it to Russian since I'm natural enough. Oh no. Oh god. Dealing with the language, oof. No. Because then it's almost like you're writing it twice. Because you have to, you know, even though it's only getting written down as one chunk of words, you gotta think it through twice. It's twice as much work through it. I'm almost glad that I don't speak another language. That said, I wish I spoke another language. I wish I hadn't dropped all my languages. I wish my high school had taught Japanese better, and I wish my primary school had taught French decent. If only, then I would, you know, still speak at least one of those languages. Heard prompts being mentioned. Ah, yes, prompts. Ha 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 ha. Cyrillic isn't counted by WorldAnvil's word count? Really? Oh no. Oops. Like at all? 57k is about 110, 130 in actuality. God damn. I find it weird that it's not counted in the word count. But maybe that's just because I mostly use Latin-based scripts. I have a lot of diacritics, a lot of umlauts. Happy to reach 10k and all caught up on my nano. Still have to do articles for those articles. Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I had to stop doing the nano. I was trying to continue nano during WorldEmber, like to try and keep at least getting like a couple of 100 words a day. That was killing me, so I haven't written anything on my nano story since, I want to say, the 7th. And I was like, couldn't do it. So I'm gonna have to go back to that in January. A circus using steam engines, automatons, and flashy lights. Ooh! That sounds quite cool, honestly. That sounds awesome. Jimmy couldn't find a way to code it in. He tried during WorldEmber 2019 and failed. Oof. Damn. I'm assuming that's going to be true of most non-Latin scripts as well. Oops. Well, that's unfortunate. But first, giant armored rats. Just casually, giant armored rats, you know, as you do. Real casual like. Ah, jeez. That's great. That's awesome. Whoop. Office is the capital city. Office is the capital city. Ah, the cute pet prompt. Was that today's prompt? Because I haven't done most of them. Because most of them I'm just like, Oh, that was yesterday's prompt. 25th. Got it. Oop, wrong button. There we go, yesterday's prompt. I've only done, I think, 2 of the prompts. I did the unprompted war, and I did the feared building. Because those were the only ones that I was like, I have an idea for these. I can work with this. Because if I don't have an idea, I'm just like, move along. When you name a creature, what would you name a creature between a cobaya and a cat? Well, that will require me. Oh, a guinea pig. A cobaya, so a guinea pig kind of cat. Yeah, I guess it is kind of like a feline pig, like a feline pig. A guinea cat. A guinea cat. Oh, just like a big guinea pig. A big cobaya. I don't know. I'm not good at asking to name things, because most of my things I name with conlang gibberish. So, like, I have some big, like, I forgot what they're called. Big animals, and I call them like the king Kalwi, and it's like, this is nonsense. This means nothing. I don't know, big guinea pig. Skinny pig? What? Guinea pig? What? Name? Hmm. They're kind of like rats, but they're not really rats. I don't know. Big guinea pigs. Murumoto, the marmot. Aw. Kinda cute. Weed. Fuzz pigs. Hell yeah. Turn them eating rubbish. Ooh. Just the animals wandering around eating rubbish. Chilling out. Kept as pets for hygienic reasons. Yeah. That seems pretty reasonable. Same kind of reason you'd have a cat to get rid of rats. You have a big guinea pig to eat your trash. Some of your trash. Same applies to your giant armored rats. Ah yes, the armored rats and the big guinea pigs. They're all just big fuzz pigs. They clean scraps and chase off or eat vermin. Ah, clever, clever. Ooh, we have an article showcase. This is good, because then it means I get to procrastinate. We have an article showcase. Sweet meows or something. Sweet day is the animal pigs are farming meow. Yeah, showcases do exist. Use it. Let me see your articles. I don't have to write anything. That's the way. That's the way we do it. Okay. So, we're going to read Dazzly Cat's article, which is called The Thrundank. The Thrundank. I'm pronouncing that weird, I'm sorry, the Thrundank. So the Thrundank is a large blackwater swamp that encompasses the headwaters of the Darkwater River through a series of streams. You can distract me. I can distract myself, it's fine. Just throw in an article. I think there's another slot. Maybe? I don't remember. A long sweeping arc of a tall ridge called the Trail Ridge keeps the Thrundank from spreading further inland, or farther inland. This ridge is over 100 miles long, and the trail upon it is mostly used by caravans of non-human folk coming to trade with the human kingdom of Mirabaks. Okay. The earliest known people to have lived in Thrundank were the Timucua, a race of cat folk of dark gold fur and even darker blue box-shaped spots. They thrive in the swamp. That's a very short sentence there. It is they who collect the strange, hard, and brittle mushrooms that only grow on trees in the Thrundank. These mushrooms are called chaka, and earn the Timucua great prices from mages and alchemists. The Timucua have their permanent villages along the swamp side of Trail Ridge. Right, okay. Back in the days when Blackstone was more of a riverman's camp than a town, a large caravan traded its way along Trail Ridge to the largest Timucua valley, Zhuane. Once in the middle of the village, they launched a terrible attack in an attempt to slaughter the ruling elders and chiefs gathered there for the festive annual Timucua rendezvous. Okay. It's fine. It's fine, I promise. You can just, but I will definitely look at it. The Timucua managed to drive the attackers out of the village, but were surrounded. Children, ignored by the attackers, escaped and made a daring trek through the swamp to Blackstone. They begged the humans for aid. Blackstone took their riverboats through the Thrundank, guided by the Timucua children, and attacked the besieging raiders. Their arrival with boatmen and ballistas turned the siege into a rout, as the Timucua swarmed out to attack as well. This also brought Blackstone and the Timucua to friendlier terms. With these friendlier relations, Blackstone was able to start logging cypress trees, though never more than they needed to make one keelboat a year. In return for the lumber from these trees, they gave the cones, bark, and drained sap to the Timucua, so both peoples could benefit from the loss of a tree. The Timucua determined which trees were to be cut and taken to Waycross, a boatyard built in the swamp when this agreement was made. In the last 3 years, a tribe of Nislings, a warm-blooded little croc folk with wings, have moved into the Thrundank. Very few in Blackstone know about them, but they seem to be on friendly terms with Timucua. In the last few years, there has been the growing threat of bog runners, a band of river pirates attacking Blackstone boats and trying to sneak into the Thrundank. Why is very much a mystery. Okay. Good morning, Happy Dinosaur Bob. Good morning. How are you? How have you been for the last couple of days? I haven't seen you in a bit, because I've been... Christmas. I'm not online, but Christmas. The flora, there's trees, chaka, brine vine, very large mound of tangled vines and leaves that can wander freely. It poses a mound above the water, waiting for the unwary to settle on it. It attacks with its vines, snaring its victims as it drags them to a great thorny moor to imprison them while its roots drain them of all fluids. Fauna, rats, vipers, pythons, crocodiles, a bug bat, a bat with 4 dragonfly-shaped wings and a long stinger for a mouth that drains blood. Ew. One bug bat can drain a cup of blood in moments. Ew. More frog, a frog large enough to eat human children. Mondo lizard, a lizard as long as a man is tall. Mambaton, a giant viper that is all black. Brine wolf, a wolf with webbed paws and bristling fur perfectly adapted for life in the swamp. Craw spider, a giant spider that sets its webs underwater, big enough to eat human children. It lives under the water. I kind of assumed that. If it's setting its webs underwater, you can kind of assume that it probably lives there. Or at least it can stay there. I don't know. And then Thrunconda, a python so big it can swallow a fully grown man. That's a lot of pythons, to be fair. Making rather merry. Excellent. That's the way to do it. Okay, so I've read the whole article. I'm gonna hit the like first before I offer any kind of like critique, I guess. Is it critique? Who knows? One bit that I think is kind of obvious is the fact that these 2 sentences down here about the Nislings and the bog runners, they basically start the same way. So in the last 3 years, in the last few years. I'm not sure if there's a way to combine them or to at least change how the second one starts. Yeah, feedback. Call it feedback. Call it comments. Feedback. They start the same way, these 2 sentences or paragraphs. And it very much is, it reads a bit repetitively. So either combine them or change how the second one is, or maybe just remove in the last few years and just have that be there has been a growing threat of the bog runners kind of thing, I guess. There was some other bit that stuck out to me. I don't remember which one. Okay. Awesome. And then the bit about the very short sentence of they thrive in the swamp. I don't know if you need that. I don't think you need to say that the Timucua thrive in the swamp, because I feel like that is already strongly implied by the fact that they live there, and that they have lived there basically, you know, their whole, like, they're the earliest known people to have lived there. So, and because it's so short, it just kind of, it's almost like a speed bump kind of thing, where it's like, oh. So I think maybe just remove it, honestly. Other than that, there are some bits where it gets a little repetitive just because you keep using the same, like, proper nouns over and over. But that happens, so. It's a good article. I like this swamp full of cat people and this raid that happened. Today starts the last push for WorldEmber. No distractions, no more cookies to bake. No more cookies. but all the more video games and gifts given that now you have to deal with, don't you? Now the Christmas has happened, now there are presents that you have to play with. As I've repeated throughout the stream, I spent most of today learning how to Rubik's Cube. Because what else am I gonna do? Right? Incredible. Yeah, tomorrow writing, 4th Christmas Day social event. 4th Christmas? Oh my god. Ooh, and today and yesterday's prompt will be Cine Garcia articles. Nice. I need to do more Cine Garcia articles, but I have done at least 3. I did 3 this month. That's more than I've done in a while. So hey, I try. Today I only have Xmas eating. I have to eat a lot of pretzels and gingerbread. Because we had spares, we had leftovers. So I have to eat a lot of pretzels at some point. I have started on the pretzels, but I haven't gotten very far. Because there's a lot of pretzels and they're all mine. I have a lot of that. And we had to have salad tonight because we had leftovers from the dip. And I was like, damn it. Okay, so this is the second showcase of the 3 that we have. So this is Makara's article about Lisa the Red-Eyed Wolf. Ooh. A book full of world-building prompts from your daughter. Nice! That's very good. That is super cool. Ooh, okay, it's gonna be a nice article, I think. Okay. Stretch. Ah. Yeah. Hydrate and then I will read. Cine Garcia will benefit. Yeah. Ooh, launches and automatons. Ooh. Alright, so this is Lisa the Red-Eyed Wolf. The initial hunts. Scientists tracked wolves in the Netherlands for several decades, managing to partially keep an eye on them even as the world started to become storm-scarred, sorry. Like, one of those wolves was Lisa, who actually had amber eyes. Born in 2043, scientists spotted a wounded Lisa shortly after a hunting party had entered the Veluwe to hunt for boars. Sorry, Netherlands. Oh boy. Oh boy. I assume it's like Veluwe or something. Velu. The hunters included 3 farmers that returned to their farms that evening. The next day, they did not show up for the hunt. In the evening, their fellow hunters went to check on them, and found all three families massacred. All victims had their throats torn open, while the hunters had been practically ripped apart. Oof. A large group of hunters, sail away. Okay. Sail away. Sail away, sail away, sail away. God. Get out of here. Damn butt. Sail away. Sail away. It's close enough. It's close. I'm trying. I unfortunately don't know Netherlandish that much. A large group of hunters formed to hunt all down. Restart sentence. A large group of hunters formed to hunt down all wolves in the area. While they did take out several wolves during the day, at night hunters were tracked down and killed. When protective militia were formed, those 2 were ambushed. It was during one of those ambushes that a survivor reported seeing a red-eyed wolf that used one of her victims as cover against bullets. Ooh. A few weeks after first spotting a wounded Lisa, scientists managed to spot her again, now with blood-soaked fur and dragging a human arm in her mouth. They reported the identity and whereabouts of the wolves to the hunters, who responded with hostile behavior and forced the scientists to flee. Ooh. Okay. So return and legacy. But as wolf hunting continued, killings became less frequent and eventually came to a stop, but nobody seemed to have successfully hunted Lisa. A year later, People again went missing at a rapid pace. Eventually, a bloody and mostly consumed corpse was found, and some of the scientists came back to help investigate. While no wolves were spotted, tracks suggested Lisa had returned and had several young wolves as companions. It wasn't long before all nearby locals had either fled or gone missing, but soon after, other settlements began to be attacked. The killings continued, and eventually, scientists managed to spot Lisa leading a wolf pack. Strangely enough, while locals not involved in hunting were also among the victims, scientists were never ambushed during their investigations. Based on the injuries of found human remains and other track evidence, Lisa's personal kill count was in the hundreds during the first 3 years. Afterwards, due to the downfall of the country, precise records halted. However, all evidence suggests that Lisa's offspring ended up forming several wolf packs, which all continued hunting humans. While Lisa likely died in or before 2058, even decades later, wolf packs still are estimated to kill more than 100 people every year. While several attempts have been made by strongholds to create new bases in the Veilaware, these have all failed due to the human and animal raids. The general conclusion is that humanity is no longer is top predator. Ah, okay. So the wolves went absolutely hog wild and just, oh wow. It's a high body count. Yeah, it's a famous animal, alright. So Dazzly is still detailing Synergasia races, as long as I want each to have history, as in timeline-worthy history. Yeah, I haven't even started on the Utremoch timeline in Synergasia. That is its own mess. I gave it a date though, didn't I? I found out what year it was. I haven't done the math though. I do like that article a lot though, Mikaro. Aside from the fact that I can't pronounce Netherlandish in any form whatsoever. Cannot pronounce Netherland words. I do like that it, it starts as, I guess, revenge of some capacity. That, Lisa got hurt, and then chaos ensues. I do now really want to know what Storm Scarred means, because I'm assuming that's involved. As I'm assuming that, like, her having amber eyes, that could just be normal stuff, just fancy color eyes, it'd be like that. But I do want to know what storm scarring is. I want to know what the storm means. I'm assuming that's the titular tempest, but I need to know. Well, amber-eyed. Well, okay, but it says red. She's called the red-eyed wolf. Climate change went haywire, so hurricanes started to hit even Europe. Oof. And then the wolves took over. Hell yeah. Didn't even know that northwestern Europe had wolves, but here you go. They do now. Yeah, all of a sudden being torn apart by storms. Yep, that makes sense. It'll happen. Yeah, twister alleys and such. Oof. Rough. Not a fan of that one. The wolves came back in Netherlands a few years ago? Ah, they got like reintroduced, or they just crossed some borders and came back? Half a dozen. Okay, so that's not... If it's suspected, then that means they were not here deliberately. They just came in and were like, oh shit. There are wolves here? Oh god. Naturally crossed from Germany. Ooh. Fun. Fun. We love to have wolves just appear out of nowhere. I feel like if a dingo showed up in Melbourne, I'd be very confused. I feel like that's the equivalent emotion that we're dealing with. Like, even like geography. I feel like that's kind of the equivalent. If a dingo just shows up in my backyard, I'm like, what the fuck did you get from? Okay, how did you get here? Foxes, on the other hand. But yeah, I do like that article. They get paid by the government for wolf-killed sheep. Yeah, that seems fair. It seems like a good thing. It'd be pretty rough if you weren't. Just like, ah, shit, the wolves killed sheep again. Goddamn government didn't protect us from the wolves. Yeah, that's like a silver lining. Okay, so then we have, this is the third showcase. This isn't really a, like, article per se, but it is WorldAnvil related. Oh no, ooh, what happened? Ooh, what happened here? No. No one is on the calendar directly after me. So if I, I finish up in half an hour-ish, the next person is 2 hours later. I believe, with how that mathed out. I can check before we showcase. I can make definitely sure, but I'm pretty sure it's 2 hours. Yeah. The next person up is Shirred Fox doing a little crafting stream. And I mean that makes sense because like we're all basically Christmas hungover, or just holidayed out. I mean I've basically done nothing all stream, so it happens. I can go for a little longer, but I'm not gonna fill that full 2 hours. That's nonsense. Yeah. Oh, it's fine. Cause I guess I can read it. I can eventually get it if I there it is. Let's make some more categories and submissions. Smiley. So this is the Anvilite Community Awards 2020. So the Anvilite Community Awards is an initiative to launch a small competition where WorldAnvil creators can invent award categories for others to complete, and also answer other people's categories published on this very page. The spirit of this competition is more akin to the Academy Awards or Game Awards, but with individual sponsoring. The inventor of a category also decides what the prize for it will be, and posts it in the category page beforehand. By the end of December, we will have this not-so-secret meritocratic Santa thing going on. The most beautiful thing is you don't really have to write an article to answer the category if you've already written one in 2020. We don't want to distract people from the WorldEmber goals. I can linger for 15 minutes, that's fine. You just let me know. I can linger for max half an hour, I would say, before I'm just like, I can make it to 1:30 a.m. and then I think I'll end up crashing out. Just because I'll be like... So I can totally do that, just let me know. So why do it? We all love gifts, both getting them and giving them. The ACA provides an additional opportunity to do so for your Anvilite colleagues. In fact, if I remember correctly, those who sponsor WorldEmber prizes can't get them. No, they can't. Not really. Well, actually, hold on. I think some of them can, but it's kind of complicated. The prizes are meant to be on the affordable side, just to award your fellow Worldbuilder for a job well done. So we're not like doing wild stuff like Basic Dragon, giving out huge, like hundreds of dollars of art supplies. It's complicated. So the rules. So posting a category means you invent a category for the others to complete, and you yourself will be the judge of who wins. Answering a prompt means you make a submission, or send a link to, your own article you have for the category and enter the competition for this category's prize. You can't answer categories you yourself posted, of course. Articles that answer categories should be in English for the convenience of everybody. Fair enough. If you post a category, list the gift you're willing to give, and an article can be written at any point in 2020. If you've already written articles for the category, it's okay. If they don't, they're able to write one. Fairly simple. Alright, cool. Yeah, just let me know when you need me to... how long you need me to go for. Like, I'll basically just go until you tell me to stop. Oops, my pencil has dropped. God damn it. Promotion of a video primer. Ooh! That is a very interesting prize. Ooh. So if you want to post a category, make a category page, create a generic article, explain the category, add an example, and list the prize. The prize doesn't have to be monetary. Free commission, make a map, help them out, leave some space for the judgment report you'll be writing after you select a winner. Right, okay, so if we made a category, you have to, explain, like, this is what I want you to do, this is what I'll give you, and then this is who won and why. Or just like, this is like a general overview of the submissions or something. Okay. The most of 2020. Okay. Then link it, and you'll add it to the list. Ooh. Okay, and if you answer a category, just post the link in the comment section. So the timetables, so the category should be finished in... I can do math, I promise. 20... 33? 33 hours? I think? I don't know. 2 days? Yeah, okay, close enough. I'm like, 33 hours-ish? Kinda 2 days? Day and a half-ish. And then entries up until the 5th. So that's 20 days to make, so in total. And then about 2-3 days to make decisions of the reviewing the categories. And then there'll be a table of winners on the page. And then if there's a shit ton of entries, we'll make it longer. Which is totally fair. We've always done that. WorldAnvil has always been like that. If you get more than 20 entries, winners... Ooh. Ooh. If we can get a lot of entries if we spread the word a lot. We have a couple of categories here. That one, this person's block is very fancy. His block is very fancy. So we have the most comedically postmodern article of 2020. What? I don't even know if I know what that means, and I did an art degree. I should know what this means. Okay, so Discworld. Okay. Alright. I have no articles for that. And I don't write in that genre. Damn it. Foiled. Devastated, but there are definitely entries for it. Nice. And we've already got 20 entries. Hell yeah. Okay, so that's an interesting, you know, thingo. And a hardcover copy of Small Gods. Nice. That's a very nice. That's a nice prize. Then we have the best myth or legend prompt article. And that's the Changelings award. And they'll give you a tabletop loot. Every time I read tabletop loot, when it's not like spaced out and capitalized, I read it as table to plute. Which isn't Changeling's fault, but that's just how I read. And so, a myth or legend, a traditional, typically ancient story, dealing with supernatural beings, ancestors, or heroes, and serves as a fundamental type in a worldview of a people, as by explaining aspects of the natural world or delineating the psychology, customs, and ideals of society. Do I have a myth or legend article at all? I'd have to check. I mean, I do, obviously I have myths and legends articles, I'm just... Do I have any from this year? That's not really ancient, though. It's not really a myth or legend. Not from this year. No, these are all old or not really myth legend. Okay, so I'd have to write one. I do have an idea for what I would write for it, but I'd have to actually write it. And if I write it during WorldEmber, I can't edit it. That might be a, if I do this one, I'll have to write that in January, I think. Or most of it in January. And this has been a bit of a busier prompt, because it's less specific, I think. Gives you a lot of a broadness, so a lot of people have entered this particular prompt. Yeah. You've got narrow categories, and then the broader categories. Which isn't a bad thing. Most disorganized religion. Ooh. Don't spoil them too, you have to research them yourselves. Horizontal. Right, so it's just like, maybe a leader, and then just nonsense. And that's the video primer setting. So, provide the script, and you'll handle the rest. That's cool. And you've got 3 entries. Yeah. This is, interesting. That's a very interesting prompt. I feel like this one I can work with more if I was going to do it. Just because I don't do postmodern. Mostly because I did an arts degree, and postmodern killed me. So there's that. Then there's best festival article. Okay. Occasion for feasting, celebration. Interesting. And that's the Quest RPG physical game book. Interesting. I think this one would be easy for people to select for because there was festival-related prompts in summer camp. So I'm sure some people are just going, hey, there's a summer camp article. Most involved character. What does most involved mean? You did a history and diplomacy degree, so postmodernism and post-irony were a part of my life for like 10 years. That is totally fair. That is totally fair. Like, I was doing, like, art, as in, like, visual art degree, and the main thing about postmodernism in art is that it doesn't mean anything. It has no meaning. It never, it's like, this is postmodern, and I'm like, what? Postmodern is literally just everything after modernism, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? Shit. It was a nightmare. Okay, so... Oh, the clock was literary universe. I love that. So, your most interconnected character article from 2020. A character that's so involved with the setting they reside in that there are links to other articles in your world peppered throughout the piece. Basically, we want an article that's going to cause us to get lost in your world for hours and hours. Okay. And a custom illustration, and a copy of Jeff Vandermeer's Wonderbook Illustrated Guide to Creating Imaginative Fiction. That's a very interesting prompt. I feel like I'd be cheating, because I mention a lot of countries in my articles, and most of them are not public. So that's not really interconnected. I would need a good character article, too. Like, a good one. Yeah, that's a really good prompt for that, because it encourages people to, you know, use the site, to use the site and its features, its functions, to actually, like, link stuff up. So that is really cool, honestly. I need the other article view, I think, so I can see the dates. And by type, characters. Okay, what characters do I have that I've actually written? No, I didn't write a Hemi this year. Didn't write a Molly this year. Definitely not. Nope. No. No, no. Yes, but no. No, no, no. Yes, but probably no. Yeah, because most of this won't take you anywhere, unfortunately, because I haven't written about Zoivas or Dirtsalol or Fazahav, or humans for that matter. Oops. So like, which articles have I written? Geo, probably not. Especially because it's like, you know, so involved with the setting. Ah, God. This one does have a lot of links to stuff, but... Cause you get like this character, no. That, Elf, Medora, Vosti Empire. No, not many. I'd like to try, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if I can find articles for it. Gonna dash, friends coming over and the flat's a mess. Oh gosh. Have fun! Thank you for showing it. I hadn't checked it out till now, and now I'm gonna have to make a note to actually do it. I'm gonna make a physical note on paper to remember this exists. I'm actually gonna add to reading list and put it in the likes, and that way I'll remember it exists, and that way I can remember to do it, hopefully. Yep. Yeah. Okay, let's make this note. So comedically post-modern. I'm making a list of all of them, but Myth, legend, disorganized, religion. That is a Y. What are you doing? Festival, involved, character. Worst part is there are characters that would fit that prompt really well if the things they were connected to were public. But they aren't. I haven't written them yet. Which is devastating. Have not written most of them. Oh god. Most of these are old too. Moon is from this year. Wait, when did I write Moona? Is she not from this year? No, I wrote her last year. She was an Inktober article. Doi. Paddle, Pyema. Not super interconnected, I wouldn't think. Not a whole lot going on with Pyema. It's like, you know, Vosti, Empire, Dad. Haven't written about Dad. Fedora, Dad. Uncle. Dude. Place. Place. Stuff. Things. Some of it. Not much. They all dead end very quickly. I write about Zaloran too. Forgot about that. I've literally already forgotten the articles that I wrote like a week ago. So Dad, Place, Usurper, City I haven't written about, Lady I haven't written about, Necromancy, Place I've written about, Country I've written about, Event I haven't written about, Elf. Oh yeah, this that exists. Don't worry about that one. Don't worry about that one. Priani. No. Shalion? No. Look, the answer is no. To a lot of these. Nevis? Probably not. Not that much, would he? Principality, calendar, country I've written about, place I've written about, place, group, ethnicity, person I've written about, haven't written about it, haven't written about it. Haven't written about it? Damn it. None of these people are connected. They're linked, but things don't show. It's devastating. Probably the same with Yelang. Well, no, Yelang's from last year anyway. Wait. Is Yelang from last year? Ethnicity, person, place. Can, can't. Can, but ew, can, can't, can soon, can, do the can, or something. Was Yelang from this year? I honestly do not remember if I wrote Yelang this year. No. She's from the Premier Politician channel. Challenge? That was last year. Uh-oh. There's a placeholder in here. Oops. How do I still have a placeholder in this article? God damn. It needs to be edited too. Oops. Jella? No, nah, mine aren't that connected. I'll have to, like, work on it. I'm doing the can now. Now they're called giant plated rats because it doesn't wrap. Oh no. Devastating stuff. Oof. Well, that's been a fun journey through my character template. Wow. I have not written that much this year, I'll be honest. I'm pretty sure there's an organization article I still haven't published that I've been working on since January. I just haven't actually published it yet. I can check that. That's, Xianhou. Nah, I still haven't published it. It's 1,700 words long and still isn't published, so, oops. Oopsie daisies, basically. I have not written much this year, so if I do any of those thingos, I'm gonna have to write something for him, which is gonna be a bit rough. But maybe that's like, if I hit 25 and then start working on an article like proper, and then like don't submit it for WorldEmber and I like leave it out, I can probably do Myth or Legend maybe. But it's a very competitive category, isn't it? Hey DM Stretch! How are you? Hope you've had a lovely day. Because I hope everybody has, obviously. A lovely past couple of days, at the very least. Yeah. Now I'm back to the actual article that I was working on. Several hours later. Oof. Yes, I did have a good Christmas. It was very busy. A lot happened on Christmas. I had to play with my kid cousin for like an hour. And that was draining. Trying to play Polly Pocket with a 5-year-old is exhausting stuff, I'm telling you. Especially as someone who was not great with kids. So, it was an interesting time. And then there was the thing with the cars, and I'm like, oh my god. It was an interesting day. But at least it wasn't a bad day, and that's the success that we're looking for. It was a good and busy day. And now we're back chilling until, you know, more things happen. Whenever things happen. Oop. Okay. God, this room is warm. And this chair is very uncomfortable. Okay, so this is the article, and it's literally just one sentence so far. Xenopus is the capital city of the Kingdom of Telsiad, and what? And what? What from thence? What from thence is writ? It's all just a mess. Because I have written another city in the thing. Major city, second largest, that's not a capital though. And that one had a gimmick. Viva Mazdaku had a gimmick. Gotham kinda had a gimmick. Tanksaddle doesn't have a gimmick. I don't have a lot of capital articles, because most of them I either didn't write or I need to rewrite desperately. Because the Wild Pie Shame article needs a significant rewrite. Because it's shit. This is the one of the articles where I'm like, this is actually bad. It is not good. The rest of them are fine though. Is it a capital? It's a capital. Ah, I have written capitals. Oh yeah, I wrote 2 of them during summer camp. Doi. Current capital, not the largest. Things happened to it. Had a different name at some point. Yeah, boy. I guess Notchlaw would be the better example, wouldn't it? Not really, but it's close enough. It's good enough as an example, as for sake of example. Desolate. Okay, so. What? God damn mozzies. PT Pooter's been riding the entire time. That's a good thing, though. You've been productive. That's what the stream is theoretically supposed to be for. The stream is theoretically intended for productivity. It's just that it's not my productivity. Crucially, I'm not the one being productive. That is the way it always is. Located on the... I don't think that has a name, actually. I'm gonna say it has no name. Located on the shores of the bay of the same name. Up. Ah, RP Giants, the Bob's up. Nice. Okay, I reckon I do want to get at least a little bit done. So maybe like an extra 10-15 minutes. And then I will shuff over. But thank you so much for helping to fill the gap, Bob. I will be there shortly. I'll like finish a paragraph or 2 and then I'll be like, There we go. Yeah, sometimes it do be like that. It always be like that on the Isaac Thompson show. Productivity is forbidden, but only my productivity. Everybody else's is fine. On the shores of the bay of the same name. It has held... yeah, still getting organized. Absolutely. It works well for both of us then. I get to finish up and then you get to set up. So I'll be there, I think I'll say 10 minutes. I'll be there in 10. It has held a powerful position in central Abrabos for many centuries, as it was the seat of the, and I'm going to link to the tells you the royal family here because it's basically the same thing, of the Duchy of Sinopus, which existed within the Linktacular, baby. I love to get word count off of that. There you go, that's an intro. It doesn't look too bad when it actually, like... It looks awful in the editor, though, because it's just blah, blah, blah. But it looks alright in the actual article. So, history. Sinopus began as a collection of small towns located on and around a large bay in the continent's north, all taking advantage of the bays. It's not shallow. Not super shallow. Blech, there we go. Like, even then it wasn't that shallow. The, you know, of the safe harbor the bay provided for their boats and the bountiful supply of fish. I gave it a date, 612, and that's going to put tooltip before collision, which will be explained later in the article. Tip of the sea. 3 of these towns merged together under the control of a local board, being renamed Sinopus in the process, possibly after himself. After the name of his daughter, Sinofi. His daughter's called Sinofi. Maybe just Sinoe. Sinofi. What was that? Their only characteristic was they have or instead of o. So it's not Sinopus, it's Sinopus. It gives an R in it. So Sinofi. I think the idea was it was just the S suffix, was it? Sinion? We'll say Sinion. So it's named after his daughter Sinion. How you got Sinopus out of Sinion is beyond me, but it's fine. This is, you know, 1,000 years ago. Shit's busted. Language is bad. There's no conlang here, it's just chaos. Now slowly grew into a major trading hub not major, just a trading hub for the north, connecting many people along the coast. This position of this position was noticed quickly by the southern Rusty Empire, who in its, how long was the conquest? Its decades long conquest of the continent took care to take this city without much force. And then I gave a date for the foundation of the duchy in 564 under his nephew Farian. How that works out, who knows? I'm assuming he married somebody. He married someone. You marry into the local lord and you get the stuff. And it's even that much force in order to gain access to the North Seas. The local, and we're going to link to the ethnicity, tells the Ador people joined the empire without much fuss, barring the minor complaint of the local, and that is the Lemto populace. My complaints. Populace. To cement the new relationship, the empire's. What was I gonna say? His name. He wasn't an empire yet, though. He wasn't. It wasn't. It was still a kingdom at the time, wasn't it? Why am I asking you? I know this. The answer is it definitely wasn't an empire at the time. It was still a kingdom. Why don't I have any of these things listed? Where are all my dates? Why is my Abravost timeline so bad? The hell? My Thrasan timeline is so much better. I need to actually do the Vosti timeline at some point. Because I did mention this. Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. Here it is. It's in this timeline. It's in this timeline here. So this is still, he's the first king of Vost. So it was still a kingdom. And then Zaloran II made it the empire. But that's long after, well not long after, like a whole dude afterwards. So that's a separate thing. So he's actually just a king. So we just call it something Kingdom of Vost. Showing the kingdom. Because it's not an empire yet. And then King Zaloran I appointed his nephew Farian to serve as the first Duke of Sinopus, having him married to the lord's daughter in 564 BC to make things more legitimate. And I think that's basically where it ends, though. That is basically where it finishes. Because it's about 109, and that's basically, like, that's close enough to 110, that is the end of a sentence. And I haven't actually figured out where it's going from here. So I figure here is a good spot to stop. I shouldn't put my hand too close to the camera, because then it gets weird. So yes, I think we'll call it here. Because we had the extra 10 minutes, courtesy of Uppity Dinosaur Bob, giving us a little extra time to get a little bit done. I wrote like 200 words. That's productive for 2 hours. So, first of all, thank you all very much for coming. I hope you all had a lovely time, however it is that you know, whatever you were doing during it, whether it's just, you know, riding along or chilling or etc. Hope it was fun in some way or helpful or whatever, you know. I have no idea what my streams are supposed to do for people. And importantly, I hope you all have a lovely day going forward, whatever it is that you end up doing with it. We will be raiding RPG Dinosaur Bob who will be continuing the WorldEmber train. We have a raid call. The raid call is Get Bready. We have a bread emote that yells. You can claim it using channel points, which is the best part. It's my favorite emote for that reason. And yeah, I hope that anyone who is doing WorldEmber continues to have good, make good progress and makes whatever their goal is, whether their goal is 10k, 25k, or something else, you know. And I hope that, everyone had a good holiday, continues to have good holidays, whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're celebrating. And, yeah. Hope you all have a lovely day. It was lovely to spend time with you all and, get a little bit done and read others' articles. And I will see you all around. Bye-bye!